Hello everyone, Mr. Nacho here, and welcome back after, well, quite a lengthy break. There wasn't really too much happening with the Remnant, but right now we are about to be faced with the third and final paid DLC for the game. This doesn't necessarily mean there won't be any further updates, but this would be the last paid DLC. So the DLC is named The Dark Horizon, and we know that it will take us to the world of Nerud that has been taken over by rogue AI, and it seems like quite a fun adventure. We know there will be gliding, there will be a paraglider, kind of a mount, it will be a very vertical map, and it will be a lot of fun to explore. As usual, I just wanted to summarize everything that we know because the DLC will be a paid part, the Dark Horizon and the new world for Nerud, but there will be also plenty of free content for everyone that owns Remnant 2, and I think that this will be actually an even bigger focus. Once we are done with the new DLC, the Dark Horizon, this will be the place to just go and keep grinding, and oh boy, do we have a lot of grinding to do. Alright, so let's start with the first thing. I will be using for reference the Twitter posts made by Ben, who is the principal designer for Remnant 1 and 2. His handle is Tragic, and he posts quite a lot regarding the new DLC, so let's go. The first thing that we will get, not really as a DLC, but as a free update, is the boss rush mode. And don't let the name fool you, it won't really be only bosses. You can see the whole write-up, which I will just link in the description, but this will also be a mini-boss. There will be like a swarm or wave defense kind of part to this run and so on. As you can see, you can select 3 different difficulties or lengths of the run that you want to go for. It will be 3 back-to-back bosses. There will be 6, and one of them will be Annihilation, and there will be Excruciating Onslaught, which means basically not really much for us. I hope that it will be all bosses, but maybe it will be just like 9 or 10. We'll have to see. Anyway, there will be a lot of items that you'll be able to get from it. You'll be able to get Luminite, Simulacrums, Corrupted Luminite, a lot of currency, and also it will give you the items that you don't really necessarily have yet, that are random world drops, that are not connected to like a quest or something. So if you have been really trying to get like a one random item that you couldn't, this mode will be for you. It will help you get your collection completed, and I really think that this will be a very fun way to play. Next up, we have a new archetype. As with every single one of the DLCs, there was one. This one will be called Warden, and it will be a kind of defensive support archetype. Think about it like an alchemist or maybe a little bit like a medic. These are the perks, and the prime perk, Dynamic, is extremely good in my opinion. It gives you, after 10 seconds of not taking damage, it will generate a shield for 23% of your maximum health. It will also increase the Nerudian energy, which is a new resource for the turret and the drone, so the engineer will also get a mini rework. So pairing up those two archetypes might be very beneficial. Next up, we have the damage perk, which is the generic 25% and 5% crit chance. This is okay because it increases all damage, so it's a very versatile class. Then you have Safeguard as a team perk, which means that the Warden's drone grants 1 stack of bulwark and increases incoming healing effectiveness by 10% to its warded target. So basically, we'll go over the abilities very soon, but Warden has a drone that he can direct to any one of his teammates or to himself. Think of it something like the handler's dog, and whoever is being targeted by the drone will receive the benefits of the currently selected drone, and on top of that they will get 1 stack of bulwark and 10% increased healing effectiveness, which is great. Then we have the contingency, which is the utility perk, and I think that this is the biggest strength of this archetype, which is there is basically a ring that's called the Ring of Crisis, which will give you shield whenever you drop below a certain threshold of your HP. And this perk does exactly that. So whenever you would be brought to below 25% of your HP, you would gain a shield for almost 30% of your max health that lasts for 10 seconds. And as you can see, it loops very nicely with the prime perk, which is after 10 seconds of not being damaged. So if you get brought to low HP and you get the shield from that, after those 10 seconds, you'll get the shield from your prime perk, and it will all be fine and dandy. And it allows us to activate a ton of different amulets and rings which we'll probably get more of in the DLC, but it allows us to activate all of those that require a shield to be active, and we don't really need to sacrifice any other slots to have a shield. And the last one is Energize, which is a relic perk, and on relic use grants a shield for 30% of max health, cannot stack with itself, and lasts for 10 seconds. On top of that, while active, actions which consume Nerudian energy have no cost, so your drone will be able to just fire away or give you shields or heal your allies on you, and the engineer's turret will just be able to fire away without using any of its ammo, which is great. So what are the 3 drones that the Warden has? The first one, and I think that this is the first one that you'll unlock, is the drone shield. It deploys a drone with 200 energy reserves, which I am sure that you can increase in some way, or at least increase its regeneration. And what it does is the target, first of all, gets 10% DR, which is damage reduction, which is insane. Then the target is going to receive a shield for 11.5% of the target's max health once every 1 second. So it will probably be able to go up to 100% because, well, why not? The nice part about this is that all shields the drone grants last until removed. This is very, very nice. So if you don't take damage, you will have this shield up permanently. Whenever the drone doesn't have any instructions to anything to do, it will go idle after 5 seconds, and then it will gain 1% energy per second. If you deplete its energy completely, it will also go dormant and have 2.1% energy regen. But if you hold down the ability and stow the drone manually, it will gain a whopping 4.2% energy regen per second. So you'll be able to have it back in like 20 seconds with full energy. Next up, we have the healing drone, which is again akin to the healing ability of Handler. It will be able to, first of all, increase relic use speed by 10%, which is great. Then if you take any damage and you are not 100% HP, it will start healing you for 10% over 1 second. And again, whenever it's idle, it has the same mechanic as previously. So the best option would be to just micromanage it and hide it manually, so you'd get the highest possible energy regeneration rate. And the last one is the damage drone, which is called Combat, and it gives you a lot of different things, which is the first thing is the fire rate and melee speed is increased by 10%, and it decreases the firearm charge time by 10%. So it would be great for something like the fusion rifles, and it will be great for the bows because those benefit heavily from the charge speed, or you can just use it with any weapon because 10% fire rate is very, very good. Whenever it's in combat, it will just attack the enemy that you are attacking, and it will do, well, hopefully quite a bit of damage, but we don't really know yet. And again, it has the same mechanic as the other ones when it comes to energy conservation and regeneration, but there is one more thing that you can do to regenerate the energy for both your drone and the turret, which is the repair tool, which is the handgun, which is the, well, secondary weapon that the Warden starts with, and you'll be able to unlock it for other classes as well. It has a open mod slot, which is great, but what it does is whenever you are shooting an enemy, it will obviously deal damage. Whenever you are shooting at an ally, it will heal them, but whenever you are shooting at a drone or the turret, it will replenish their Nerudian energy reserves, which is basically their ammo. So you can just hide behind the corner and keep shooting at your drone or turret and let them do the damage, and you'll just be refilling their ammo while they are active, which is very, very nice. The one thing that I think would be interesting is that if it works with Bandit whenever you're targeting allies, but we'll have to test it and see. We also know that the Warden starts with a unique melee weapon, which is kind of a scythe. We'll have to see how it works, but for now this is all that we know. The next thing is, well, it's huge. It's basically regarding this new system that will replace the relic fragment system, which is called the Prisms. As you can see, the prisms are right here on the right. You can unlock up to 7 different ones, and they go quite in depth. So first of all, you can equip 3 different fragments, as usually you'd be able to equip them to a relic. That's all the same. But then again, you have 5 different empty slots per every single relic, and you can only have 1 active at a time, and they will give you other bonuses. The trick to it is that you will have to feed the prism some of the relic fragments, and it will consume them, so that you'll need to reacquire them in order to be able to use them. But you can feed the ones that you are not using anyway, which is like something like the weapon spread or the weapon range or whatever, so that you can level up your prism very, very easily, and then you'll be able to get great bonuses. First of all, you'll get 5 random bonuses from the prism itself, and whenever you get it to max level, you'll be able to select something that's called a legendary power. This is a huge buff. Some of them will be something like you can choose 2 prime perks, or actually have 2 prime perks active from both of your archetypes, which is crazy. You could also have something like the increased relic charges by 100%, concoction limit by 5, dodge weight threshold by 100, half all cheat death mechanic timers, which is like the Black Cat Band, which is the prime perk of Challenger, which is the prime perk of Handler, and so on. Grey health cannot be removed. This one I'm not very happy about, because grey health builds are already extremely underpowered, and having to sacrifice a legendary power for them to even be viable and on the same level is a huge opportunity cost for them to at least be, you know, viable and working. So this is not something that I would aim for, but maybe this will change in the future. Next up, we have every evade triggers perfect dodge, which is very good, and double mod charges, for example. So this is gonna be very powerful. So the fragments, well, obviously you'll be able to buy 1 prism from Dwell at the very start for like 1000 relic dust, and then you'll be able to start upgrading it until you reach the max level with it. After that, I'm not sure how the rerolls would work or how it works with the different loadouts or whatever, but so far this is what we know. And on top of that, there obviously had to be some sort of a secret with this. So we don't really know what the secret is, but to me, this looks suspiciously like a cipher, so you would need to select probably the correct relic fragments and feed them to correct prisms, and then some sort of secret would be activated. We'll have to wait and see. This will be a community-driven effort to find out what it actually is, but I think that this would be extremely fun. The next thing is actually very nice quality of life improvement, which is a search filter. As you can see, there are so many different even rings in the game that it's difficult to keep up, but you can just select any of the filters, which is like all damage, status effects, and dodge. So whenever you want to do something like an elemental damage, you would go for elemental, all damage, probably like mod or skill, depending on how you apply those elemental effects, and so on. So you can just filter out all of the things that you don't need, so you can only focus on the things that would actually benefit your build, which is very difficult to do right now. If you don't really remember what all of the rings do, it will be almost impossible to make a very good build, but so far this is a superb change. One more thing I wanted to highlight is that there is an article on .esports.com. I'm not entirely sure how trustworthy it is, but it was written by Tom Foley, and it says that Remnant 2 potentially adding a 5th difficulty. So there might be something on top of Apocalypse, because with all of the prisms that we will be getting, it will extremely increase our player power. So it depends whether they just want to make Apocalypse more approachable and easier, or if they want to make players have additional challenge and make the new difficulty to be even harder than the Apocalypse is right now. Also, I think that it might be very difficult to go to the boss rush, to the hardest level, and we'll have to see about that. So maybe it will just balance itself this way, but this is an increase in player power in general. I will obviously be linking the article and all of the other information in the video description. And I also wanted to mention that since this is the last DLC and it will be for Nerud, I have a sneaking suspicion, or at least I hope, there would be something updated regarding the Root Earth, because this is the one world that didn't really get touched. And you can expect the current strongest builds that use Monolith and Nebula to be nerfed on day 1 whenever the DLC releases on 24th. But after the DLC releases, there will be a period when they are trying to still figure out what's working, what's strong and what not. And after that, there will be another balance patch. So they will change the weapons, they will buff some things, nerf some things as usual, just to make sure that whenever they are leaving the game, it will be in a playable and balanced state. I'm honestly very excited to see how it will go. Obviously, I will be making some strong builds for boss rush, and I will be making some exploration videos probably for the new DLC, and we will have to see what else comes with the last expansion of the game. But so far, I am extremely excited. I can't wait. and I will hopefully drown you in some content on 24th and after. Also, on top of that, there will be another game that I'm really interested in releasing on 24th, which is called Forever Winter. I will also link it down in the description below. If you're interested in it, I will probably be covering it once it releases, because on 24th it will only be on the early access, but it seems extremely promising, and if Remnant was something that you enjoyed, I think that you might also enjoy Forever Winter. Also, if you have any recommendations for other games that you'd like me to cover or make builds on or explanations, let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you whenever the DLC releases. And as always, have a great day.